If you love movies and movie discussions, you've come to the right place. Who am I, you ask? I am the Wiz. I'm here today with...
Zero.
How you doing this week?
Holding up all right.
That's good to hear. Nothing, like, too crazy going on? I mean, because usually there's something that's like, I have this problem, and I have to get my flamethrower out, and, I just hate these things. And just, everything's chill for now?
One of my projects is at a standstill, and unfortunately, we're having to work with another team, and it's a bit of a situation of the other team sort of stabbing in the dark. So lots of, hey, have you guys done this? Yeah, we've done it. We've got the logs. Oh, well, have you done this other thing? Yeah, we've got the logs for that too. Oh, well, and then just more of that.
No. All right, so we're here today to review the 2009 horror comedy Zombieland, starring Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Abigail Breslin, and Emma Stone, directed by Ruben Fleischer. And basically the plot is, after a virus turns most people into zombies, the world's surviving humans remain locked in an ongoing battle against the hungry undead. 4 survivors, played by Harrelson, Eisenberg, Stone, and Breslin, abide by a list of survival rules and zombie-killing strategies as they make their way to a rumored safe space in Los Angeles.
To me, this movie felt like an amalgamation of the George Romero movie, Diary of the Dead, the movie Shaun of the Dead, and then mixed in with the Max Brooks book, The Zombie Survival Guide, which, if for anyone who remembers, the Zombie Survival Guide was the basis for the movie World War Z.
Oh, really? I knew that was based off a book, but I didn't realize it was based off of that book.
Yep. So for me, that's what it felt like Zombieland sort of was for me. Just, it felt like those 3 things sort of just kind of mashed together and everything. It's fun, it's got its silly moments, but it's not anything too remarkable. Unfortunately, with kind of like the zombie movie sort of design, if you've seen one, you've kind of seen them all.
I don't think its originality and story was going to be the thing that's going to be what people like about this movie. It would be the humor of the film, which I think some of the humor is actually pretty funny, especially when it involves Woody Harrelson. I really liked his character, and I thought he was really funny in that character for the most part. I think there are some spots in the film where he's kind of but I think that his character is very funny. I also think the runtime of this film works really well with its silliness, and you don't get to really get to know these characters very well. But other than that, they're all caricatures in a lot of ways, and really the main thrust of the film is the humor.
For me, it seemed like it just really played into more of the humorous tropes of zombie movies for the most part. The part that really reminded me of the Zombie Survival Guide was just when you have Columbus basically kind of constantly reiterating his rules of survival and everything.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting about those rules is that this film is a lot about rules. I think that's how it really runs. You have the rules that Columbus is talking about, but you also have the rules of how the zombies work in this movie. And they gauge the humor around all of that, except for in the end where the characters seem to forget the rules in that end. I'm talking specifically about when the girls finally get to the safe haven and they do the one thing that actually will bring the zombies up, even though the film pretty much tells you that these guys react to sound and lights.
It was kind of one of those things that's like, yeah, just, I get it. Got Little Rock, who's got a kind of nostalgia of being a kid, having fun back before the zombie apocalypse happens. And then when they got to the Pacific Place, which I'm guessing that's kind of a riff off of, I forget which one's in California. I think it's Disneyland.
It's Disneyland, yeah.
So basically, it's just like they're at a place that's clearly sort of like a parody of Disneyland and everything. And I'm sitting here going, if we're going by both Columbus's rules and then the rules and tropes established in the Zombie Survival Guide, lights and sound are a bad thing because you're going to pull in all the zombies. And this was the problem I had when I watched the movie initially in theaters, and then watching it again, it was just like turning on all the rides and all the lights and everything. You're just ringing a giant dinner bell for the zombies.
And then on top of that, the Hummer that they have, they drive into the ocean for what reason? And then they decide the best way to not get eaten by the zombies is to go on a ride that just goes up and down? Why? That's the stuff where I'm like, that's dumb. The film has taught you cardio is most important and not staying in one place. and they choose the ride where you are staying at one place and immobile? Huh? I don't understand that. And these characters are not supposed to be dumb, and yet they do the dumbest thing you could in this movie. There's another thing I have a problem with the movie, and that's the referential nature of the film. I would say at first it's funny, but it gets really tiresome towards the end of the film. The one thing that I think really highlights this well is the Bill Murray scene. The Bill Murray scene's funny at first, because what is Bill Murray doing here, and what is Bill Murray doing dressed as a zombie? And he has a reason. It's humorous. It's funny. Then they go a little too long, like them pretending to be Ghostbusters, and it just went on way too long. I think it should have just been cut back more.
It starts off humorous, kind of like you mentioned, but yeah, it felt like it just went too long in tooth. It's just like, we get it. Tallahassee's so excited, he just wants to kind of, just celebrate the fact that Bill Murray's alive, and hey, behold the greatness of Bill Murray and all this other stuff. While that's great and all, it's just one of those things that, to me, it felt like it just went a little bit too long in tooth. If they had tightened it up, maybe it wouldn't have been too bad, but yeah, for me, it just felt like it just ran way too long in tooth.
All right, Zero, so let's get into your research. I think you have a little something for us. Go right ahead.
Surprisingly, I had completely forgotten that there was going to be a TV adaptation of the movie, basically where it'd be a bit more long form and everything. What kind of surprised me was the fact that the TV show didn't even get off the ground.
Oh.
Apparently, they had put a pilot out, and 1 month later, Brett Reese, who was the creator of the TV show, had basically come to announce in May 2013, literally a month after the pilot got launched, that they would not be picked up by Amazon for a full-blown TV show. And apparently Reese's commentary on it was that he was just completely baffled by how much diehard Zombieland fans had hated this TV show. And the big line about this that was quoted on, I want to say it was a short interview with him, was he said, quote, "You guys successfully hated it out of existence."
And that happens sometimes. I think if this was a few years ago, when all the streaming services were trying to find content, they probably still would have done a full season of this, and we could have all witnessed how terrible it was, but simpler times, I guess. All right, Zero, so that is the end of our review. Do you recommend Zombieland?
Yeah, I'll recommend it mostly as kind of a fun movie, as long as you don't think too hard about it and kind of turn off your brain. It's a fairly entertaining watch. It's not going to be high cinema. It's not going to be like something absolutely revolutionary or anything like that. But, I mean, if you enjoy kind of a fun-ish zombie movie with some of the protagonists getting the drop on the other protagonists every once in a while, I mean, it's a fairly fun movie to kind of see that sort of thing happen every once in a while. And then there are some silly moments, like when they go into a Indian casino souvenir store and just absolutely just wreck shop just to kind of blow off some steam and everything. It's an alright and an entertaining movie, but yeah, it's not gonna be something just revolutionary that somehow magically evolves zombie movies into something else.
I'm with you. I'm going to also recommend it, but I'm on that point where it can go either way. It's either a non or a recommend, but I'm going to slightly hit the recommend button on this one. This is a dumb, fun movie, basically, but the problem that I had with this is that the characters are dumb, and along with the humor, there's enough humor in it that is good that I found it watchable in the very least. Honestly, though, if you want a zombie comedy, Shaun of the Dead is probably your best bet. Have you seen Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, that one is a classic to me.
I would say that, and there's probably others too that are probably better than this, but it's light, it's fun, it's not to be taken seriously, so yeah, if that's what you're into, yeah, give it a shot. So overall, Zero, do you recommend Zombieland?
Yeah, I'll recommend it.
I will also recommend Zombieland. Check it out on Netflix. Unless you have the ads-only service, which is not there, I found that out the hard way. That is so stupid, by the way. My God. Like, ugh. Why
yeah,
even
worst.
Why even have an ad-supported tier if you're going to gate... Oh, I already know the answer to that. What am I doing? Anyway, we both recommend Zombieland. Check it out wherever you want. Now, if you want my full review on this movie, you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. You'll have my full written review right on the site, along with a link to the video that has this review that you've just listened to. All right, Zeros, that's the end of the review. On Saturday, I'll be reviewing Star Trek First Contact by Jonathan Frakes. Tuesday, I'll be reviewing The Others, directed by Alejandro Amenabar. Thursday. Zero, what are we watching?
We are watching 2013's supernatural horror film, The Conjuring.
That's right, The Conjuring, directed by James Wan. Apparently, this became so popular, it actually spun off in a bunch of different places. I have not seen any of these. Have you?
No, I think this one is supposedly loosely based off of the demonologist case of the cursed Annabelle doll. That's a bit of an interesting story. I know that there have been a whole bunch of ghost hunting shows that have covered the Annabelle doll and stuff like that. This sounds like it should be an interesting watch.
So, on Saturday, I'll be reviewing Star Trek First Contact, directed by Jonathan Frakes. On Tuesday, I'll be reviewing The Others, directed by Alejandro Anabar. And on Thursday, me and Zero are reviewing The Conjuring, directed by James Wan. I am The Wiz.
And I'm Zero.
Talk to you guys next time. Bye.